Welcome. Scott here. Here is a quick boss guide for the upcoming World of Illusion Spiritus, Bahamut event. This is the 4th Spiritus Summon Boards fight in Global that feature the Spiritus level difficulty. The featured units for the event banner are the returning Serah, Relm, Steiner, Sherlotta, Freya, and Keiss. Both Serah and Sherlotta will be getting their FR boards and rework. Serah FR and Burst will be making their debut. We will be fighting 2 bulky Knuckle Spiritual. Both bosses have 150 million HP each. They don't have any major resistances. To achieve the S grade in Spiritus Clear, you need to defeat the stage within 40 turns. The HP requirements is 5000. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the event was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in Global. Before I continue on to the boss mechanics, let's talk a bit about the Spiritus score system. As you fulfill the milestones, you will get a grade. The ultimate reward of the stage is to get a grade S. For any Spiritus fight, you cannot bring any friend support for the fight. Now I proceed to talk about the key thresholds that you need to watch out for the fight. At the start of the fight, the boss will gain stats boost like other Shinryu or Lufania fight. The boss will enters in runaway mode at the 89% HP threshold and lowers debuffs on itself by 1 turn. Runaway will grant the boss a red aura and effects that dependent on the number of debuffs inflicted on the boss. The lesser number of debuffs on the boss, more aura effects the boss will have. Reaching the 70% HP threshold mark will get you grade D. When you reach 69% HP threshold, the boss will disable the runaway mode and activates the bulky shield at 69%, gain an instant turn. It lowers debuffs duration on self by 2 turn and activates a 5 million HP shield. At the 49% HP threshold, the boss will lower the debuffs duration on itself by 1 turn and gain an instant turn. At the 39% HP threshold, the boss will reduce the debuffs on itself by 1 turn and enact another 5 million HP shield. Passing this point will get you grade C. At 29% HP threshold, the boss will activate Runaway Plus, which is like the Runaway Aura at the 89% HP threshold, gains an instant turn and lowers the debuff duration by 2 turns. At the 19% HP threshold, the boss will reduce debuff duration by 1 turn and gain an instant turn. Do note that the bosses are unkillable when the enemies have less than 4 debuffs. If the boss has less than 1% HP and 4 debuffs inflicted, you will trigger the winning condition, thus ending the fight. Completing the fight above 60 turns will get you grade B. You will get grade A if you complete the fight within 41 to 60 turns. You will get grade S if you complete the fight below 40 turns. As we are no longer have Lufania Plus fights, the boss guide will be focused primarily on Shinryu fights. In Shinryu, you need to understand the effects gained by the boss as the force gauge build up, its force ability and its force time effect. If your party has low force levels, it is highly certain that the boss force gauge will build up faster than yours. To have a better understanding on the basics of the force gauge mechanics and Shinryu fights, I have done a video explaining the mechanics. I have included the link to the video under the comments and video description for your quick reference. Throughout the fight, the boss force gauge charge rate will increase by 3% for every enemy and ally turns. The bosses also have a post-turn Brave Regen that equates to 80% of its initial Brave. When the force gauge is equal and above 30%, the boss will apply a Brave Poison aura that will reduces 80% of their own max Brave. At the 100% threshold, depending on the number of debuffs that you have inflicted on the boss, it will use its force ability, Cyclone Knuckle Plus or Cyclone Knuckle Plus Plus. When you have inflicted 4 or more debuffs, the boss will use Cyclone Knuckle Plus, which reduces all enemies' Brave by 100%. When you have inflicted less than 4 debuffs, the boss will use Cyclone Knuckle Plus Plus, which reduces all enemies' Brave by 100%, Brave gained by the Brave damage dealt and followed by an AoE HP attack that inflicts a 5-turn 50% HP damage down debuff on all targets. Upon using the Force ability, the boss will enter into its Force time where the gauge will start to emit a red hue with a counter of 6 on its gauge. The boss will gain the enhancement where it reduces the Brave damage received by boss additional 100%. Do not be surprised if you will be hitting ones. You can handle these resistances easily by either using Brave cap damage or Rainbow, special Brave gain mechanics like Lotta, Gravity Brave shaving or ignore defense mechanics to break them. To deal the Force weakness which cancel the enemy's Force time, you need to use a magic Force ability attack that increase party Brave. Other than Serah, FR that meets the conditions are Sherlotta, Garnet, Kryle and Braska at this point of time for global. Future FR units like Relm and Quina also meet the condition. Before I going the boss threshold mechanics, let's cover the boss basic rotations first. Like other Spiritus, the boss will activates its aura at the start the fight. The boss has a simple 2-move set rotation. It can do HP attack if its Brave is high. It will start off with Spirit Shot plus and revert to Heavy Clap on the following turn. You can predict which moves that the boss will use by looking at the targeting icon. Spirit Shot plus is a single range Brave attack and it will inflict 80% attack down for 5 turns. Heavy Clap will reduce all debuffs on self by 2 turns, followed by AoE Brave plus HP. It will inflict 50% defense down and 50% max Brave down by 5 turns. Now let's cover on the boss key aura mechanic Runaway. The boss will activate this red aura at the 89% HP threshold, temporarily disables it at 69% and activate the plus variant at the 29% HP threshold. The aura will get stronger depending on total number of debuffs that you have inflicted on the boss. The more debuffs you have inflicted on the boss, the stronger the aura it will be. Let's start off with Runaway mode, which is between 89% to 70% HP threshold. Upon activating the Runaway mode, the boss will reduce current debuffs that inflicted on itself by 1 turn. If there are no debuffs on the boss will reduce HP damage received by 150%. If there are less than 2 debuffs on the boss gains an additional aura that lowers your party max Brave by 200%. If there are less than 3 debuffs on the boss gains an HP regen that equates to 1.5 million per turn. If there are less than 5 debuffs on the boss will gains an aura that raises its attack, defense, and speed by 50%. The boss will activate Runaway mode plus from the 29% HP threshold. Upon activating the mode, the boss will reduce current debuffs that inflicted on itself by 1 turn. If there are no debuffs on the boss will reduce HP damage received by 200%. If there are less than 2 debuffs on the boss gains an additional aura that lowers your party max Brave by 300%. If there are less than 3 debuffs on the boss gains an HP regen that equates to 3 million per turn and the boss cannot be KO'd. If there are less than 4 debuffs on the boss will gain an aura that raises its attack, defense, and speed by 50%. If there are less than 5 debuffs on the boss will frame its own CTB gauge. Immune to delay, include breaks, and turn deletion. Other than the Runaway auras, the bosses also have other triggers that result in reducing the debuff's duration whenever you meet the condition. At the following HP thresholds, 69%, 49%, 29%, and 19%, Bulky Knuckles' turn rate become instantaneous. It will reduce all debuffs by 1 turn and the boss will gain an additional turn on its next turn. At the following HP thresholds, 69% and 39% HP threshold, the boss will activate Bulky Shield Plus where they will reduces all debuffs duration by 1 turn and activates a 5 million HP shield. Now I have gone through all the key mechanics that you will experience in this boss fight. Let us recap what key utility that you will need for the fight. As you can see, the bosses can reduces debuffs with its threshold mechanics and heavy slap attack, so you will need constantly reapplying your debuffs to ensure you don't withstand the penalties from the runaway aura. Do watch out for the thresholds trigger at the 69% and 29% HP threshold where the debuffs will downtick by 2 turns. Do be aware that the bosses are also unkillable if you are unable to inflict 4 debuffs. On the screen, I have listed down some possible options of AoE debuffers that you can deploy for the fight. If you are deploying limited debuffs team comp, do consider stacking 1 or more call slots for the multiple debuff calls as your LDCA. Serah will make the fight irrelevant thanks to her powerful offensive auras and constant debuffing. Clearing the fight for the Shinryu event tickets will not be too difficult if you have her base kit covered, LD and all other lower tier weapon passives. If you get her fully geared, don't be surprised that she can even outdamage even some of the pure damage dealers in the game. As the boss have a mechanic that constantly lower the debuffs, Minwu is a good option to use here if you have him fully geared in your roster. More debuff duration reductions will equates to more Holy 16 fireworks. Let us cover a bit on the feature FR unit Serah. Serah is getting a lot of love from the developers. Her skills have been upgraded with a lot of new damage potencies. Her wound is now a guaranteed hit and have a 2 buff dispel utility. Her auras are probably the strongest among all supports. The downside is that you need to invest a lot of time to grind for her cursed artifacts and she don't offer any defensive utility like healing, force charging like most key meta supports do. Her double poison debuffs is very good in controlling boss brave, which is useful against bosses with lots of brave gain mechanics. Serah FR conditions is easy to fulfill. 1. Recovers all allies brave when using a skill will result you gaining 20% HP damage bonus for any ally and 40% for Serah. All Serah skills offer powerful brave battery utility that you can do launches with her without the use of Selfie LD or Keiss LD. Other than Serah, units that can inflict debuffs and constantly battery the party are Lily-Set, Beatrix, Mog and Sherlotta. If you want to abuse the FR condition for supercharging, you can gain 70% per supercharge. 2. Attacking a debuff enemy will gains 5% HP damage bonus per debuff. We can inflict up to 8 debuffs on the enemy. So, you can technically meet 40% per turn easily. Serah herself offers 4 debuffs, so you can easily supplement it with other units or using debuff calls. However, this FR condition is weak against boss fights that feature debuff cleansing threshold. But even if the debuff got cleansed, you should not have a difficulty to reapply them. Upon using her FR, Serah raises the brave gains by 20% and increase the brave by 10% for every HP damage dealt. Serah's burst will give her additional aura and you will get an even stronger version if the burst is green. The auras will get upgraded when Serah takes a turn. It will take 3 Serah turns to fully ramp up the BT aura to its maximum state at 3 stacks. Serah will also gain a follow-up attack assistance from her sister, Lightning, when her BT aura is active. So, is Serah usable without full investment? She still can function well as a budget aura bot with brave control utility with her double poison mechanics and dispel utility with her S1. Getting her burst and full investment will make Serah double up as an offensive damage dealer. The downside is that her damage might hurt a bit because she is using the bow weapon type or fights that features debuff cleansing. If you have the Mog Pass subscription, you should be getting the double cursed artifacts with relative ease. In my opinion, supports have more investment value as they will still be relevant as they don't get power creep like generic damage dealers like Squall, Machina, Titus etc. If you don't have a lot of supports, it is highly recommended you invest in one. The other FR unit, Sherlotta, is also getting a nifty upgrade with her Echo boards and is the first FR Echo with supercharging utility. Her BT aura still offers one of the best mechanic bypass utility in the game. However, if it really depends on the player's preferences, available resources, and their playing style. There are content like Future Crevasse, Weapon Type Lockouts, Transcendence, 6 Warrior Quests, global events that requires the users to build a fully functionable roster. Serah will add value to any roster without a question. However, if you have limited resources or enough to pity an unit, it is probably be more advisable to save for an overpowered unit called Ruby Conte, who will be coming at the end of the month. We have come to the last slide of the guide. For every Spiritus fight, there are ticket challenge mission. For the Bahamut Spiritus event, the 3 challenges are: 1. Ticket Challenge 1, bring a team that consists of red, yellow, or white crystal units. 2. Ticket Challenge 2, bring a team that consists of spear, bow, or unique weapon users. 3. Ticket Challenge 3, bring a team that is from one of the 3 following series: Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy XIII, or Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. On the screen you can see a table showing the list units that you can consider for the challenge. Don't worry too much if you are unable to clear it when the event is released. You can still get enough Spiritus keys to claim all treasures in the stage by clearing other missions. So far, all team comps that meet all conditions will feature a minimum FR Serah for grade A score. A sample team comp is Serah, Sherlotta and Freya. It is reported in the last event that you can get the Spiritus mission clear even if you get a grade B score. So, you can try your luck on the fight. With this, I have come to the end of my boss guide presentation. Hopefully you find it useful. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to my channel for future gaming content. Good luck for the fight in the coming days. Bye.